Yes, I didn't see him. What are you looking so sad about, Jap?
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm really insulted. I mean, that's not right what you just said.
What do you mean, what I just said?
I mean, I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talking about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, Clay, one time I tell my career, I was on a Formula One tour.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
Well, you'll be on the tour. Oh.
What's happening, my people? It's Cat Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Miss Cass, Ray Patterson, Mike Mazik. Salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, top boxers over 40. How's the family today? Tuesday afternoon edition, Cass Sports, the Boxtorian. Yeah, we're going to talk about some fighters over 40 today. Excuse me for one moment, please. Okay, I'm back. If we're going to talk about top fighters over 40, like Big George, B Hop, Archie Moore. That's what we're going to cover today. Some of the great ones over 40. Sugar Ray Robinson, Roberto Duran. Yeah. There's some fighters that showed age is just a number, okay? But for the highlights of boxing history today, I have some of the fastest punchers of all time. One of the fastest punchers in our sport today. Yeah, you do a top boxers over 40, you got to talk about those two on the screen. Like I said, it'd be almost criminal to not include those two. You know, household names. You know, even a casual fan, you're talking great fighters over 40 years old will recognize B Hop and George Foreman. Two of the top ones that fought way into their career. I think B Hop went in the 50s. Big George, of course, is the oldest heavyweight champion in history. And, you know, B Hop is the oldest champion, period, in boxing history. He, at 49, broke Big George's record at 46, and then he broke his own record twice at 48 and 49, right? Bernard Hopkins. And still a, you know, significant part of boxing from his affiliation with Golden Boy. You know, every time Golden Boy have a card, you're going to see B Hop in the ring standing right by Oscar. You know, so there goes Oscar's shadow, B Hop. But let's get started with the highlights of boxing history. We're going to talk about some of the fastest punchers in history today. So now, without further ado, let's get into the highlights of boxing history. Oh yeah, we're in fight week for another big 2025 card. Ryan and Rolly headlining, Devin, Jose Ramirez, Teofimo, Arnold Barboza, and some other good fights on the card too. That's Friday, I believe, and then Saturday, the Canelo and William Skull. And you know how to say everybody has a puncher's chance. William Skull doesn't even have a puncher's chance against Canelo. He's not knocking Canelo out. He doesn't even have a puncher's chance. So Canelo will be the first person to ever be undisputed in the same weight class twice in the four-belt era. Not the first two-time undisputed, but the first time two-time undisputed in the same weight class in the four-belt era. This will be his second time winning undisputed at super middleweight. So it will be a record-breaking event Saturday for Canelo Alvarez. Okay? First four-belt undisputed two times in the same weight class, 168. Yeah, they stripped him of that IBF, but he's going to add it back to his collection Saturday. No problem. Okay. I got 16 of the fastest punchers of all time. Let's talk about it. But how's everybody today? On this Tuesday afternoon. Still early in this big week of boxing history. The rest of the week, we're going to talk about amateur boxing tomorrow. And Thursday, going to be Vermont. We didn't get it in last week, so Vermont boxing in the States. 6 more states to go. And then Friday, the life and career of the Pride of Wales, Joe Calzaghe, Friday. Yep, we're going to be talking about Joe, Mr. 46-0. Okay? 16 are the fastest punchers in boxing history, ranked, okay? Now, boxing is an art exhibit by the trained and equipped artists known as boxers. Now, the boxers remind us that speed can be as deadly as power in the sweet science of boxing. Now, the art of lightning fast hand speed is not only required for attacking, but it also helps make the defense strong by putting the other boxer on the back foot. Mm-hmm. Now, the rapid fire combinations, punches, and dazzling display of fast-paced hands make any boxer a unique fighter in the industry. Now, the boxers with the fast hand speed became legends in the sport and left many fans in awe of their blistering hand speed. Okay, let's start talking about some of the fastest hands in the history of boxing. Okay, first we have the Macho Man, Hector Macho Camacho. There's Hector. Now, Camacho won world titles in 3 different weight divisions, demonstrating his versatility and skill across multiple weight classes. Notable wins include victories over legendary fighters like Roberto Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard, the latter of which led to Leonard's retirement. Okay? And known for his lightning reflexes and footwork, Camacho's speed was his greatest asset in outmaneuvering opponents. They got some work going on too, so we might get a little disturbance. Okay. Now, Camacho's lightning fast reflexes and footwork made him a dominant force in the ring, allowing him to outmaneuver opponents despite lacking knockout power. He competed in 8 weight classes and won world championships in 3 of them. The Macho Man. Next, we have Sugar Ray Leonard. Can't do a list of fast hands without Sugar Ray on it, neither. Okay, Sugar Ray Leonard. Leonard, also known as Sugar, Olympic gold medalist and 5-division world champion, famous for lightning fast flurries and elite boxing IQ. Now, Sugar Ray Leonard, often called Sugar for his smooth style, dazzled audiences with his extraordinary hand speed. His punches came in rapid combinations that overwhelmed even the best defensive fighters of his era. And Leonard wasn't just fast, he was also sharp, accurate, and smart in the ring, which made his speed even more dangerous. His classic victory over Thomas Hearns in 1981 remains one of the best examples of speed used to outlast and stop a dangerous, powerful opponent. Leonard's career record of 36 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw with 25 knockouts showcases his mix of quickness, agility, and finishing ability. Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah, you talk about fast hands. How can you not mention Sugar Ray? Mr. TNT, Meldrick Taylor. Taylor, also known as TNT, Olympic gold medalist in 1984 and former light welterweight world champion, known for explosive multi-punch combinations and rapid reflexes. Okay? Mike Rim. What's up, Mike Rim? How are you today? Yeah, we're going to talk about the old guys in a moment, but first, highlights of boxing history is we talking about the guys with the fast hands. We had Hector Camacho and Sugar Ray Leonard. Now we're down to Meldrick Taylor. Arguably one of the fastest ever. Yeah. Meldrick TNT Taylor's nickname couldn't have been more accurate. He packed explosive speed in every punch. His hands moved like flashes of light, delivering high volume combinations that left opponents unable to respond. A Philadelphia-born fighter, Taylor's greatest moment came in the legendary 1990 fight against Julio Cesar Chavez, where Taylor's blistering pace dominated nearly the entire fight. His speed was unmatched, and many boxing experts consider Taylor one of the fastest-handed fighters in history. With a record of 38 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw, Taylor's speed first style made him a nightmare for opponents in the ring. Meldrick Taylor. Talking about fast hands. How about Sugar Shane? Sugar Shane Mosley. Okay? Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. What's up, Bruce Gas? How are you today, bro? Yeah, we're going to talk about the old guys in a moment, but now, talking about some fast hand fighters. How about Sugar Shane? Let's talk about Sugar Shane. Now, Sugar Shane's blistering hand speed dominated the lightweight division. 3-weight world champion with 8 successful lightweight title defenses. celebrated for its explosive combinations and fast counters. Okay? Now, Shane Mosley, nicknamed Sugar Shane, brought intense speed and power to the lightweight division in the 1990s. His hand speed was electrifying, snapping off rapid-fire punches with precision and purpose. He dominated the lightweight division, scoring 18 knockouts in his first 19 fights and defending his title 8 times, all by stoppage. Even as he climbed in weight, Mosley's fast hands remained one of his most dangerous tools. His career wins over Oscar De La Hoya and Fernando Vargas proved that speed could carry up through the weight classes. Mosley finished his career with a record of 49 wins, 10 losses, 1 draw, with 41 knockouts, and a reputation as one of the quickest punchers of his era. Didn't have a bad knockout rate neither. Let's see. I just can't help myself. 49 wins, 41 knockouts, wasting time. That's I gotta stop this. 83.6%. 86.3%, 83.6 for Shane Mosley. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, got him out of there at an 83% clip. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, 83.6. Okay, after Sugar Shane, we have Gary Russell Jr. Fast hander, Gary Russell Jr. There's Gary. Terrell Cameron. What's up, Terrell? Terrell says, bad man. I think he was talking about Sugar Shane because we just starting GR, Gary Russell. But salute, Terrell. Talking about some fast hand guys. And we're going to get to these guys that excelled past age 40. Pretty good one today. Stick around for that. Okay. Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell had unbelievable hand speed. Okay. Now, Russell Jr. held the WBC featherweight title for several years, defending it multiple times. He was recognized early in his career as the prospect of the year in 2011 due to his exceptional speed and skills. Gary Russell Jr., one of the fastest fighters of the modern era, Russell Jr.'s speed is matched by few. Despite fighting infrequently, his quick hands have kept him at the top of the featherweight division, showcasing his exceptional athleticism. Yet his hands kept him at the top of that division for years. Gary Russell Jr. Got to talk about Zab, okay? He was about the only guy that Floyd fought that was probably had faster hands than Floyd, Zab Judah, okay? Now, Zab never lived up to his potential, though. Zab Judah won several world titles across 2 weight classes, including the IBF and WBO titles. Renowned hand speed, Judah was known for his extraordinary hand speed, often being compared to Floyd Mayweather Jr. in this regard. Now, despite his talents, Judah's career was marred by inconsistent performances, and a brain injury in 2019 ended his boxing career prematurely. I think Zab still made the hall, though. I think he just went in with the last class, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I do believe Zab went in with the last class. Okay. Now, known for his incredible hand speed, like I said, Judah was often compared to Floyd Mayweather Jr. for his fast hands. Now, despite a career that didn't fully meet his potential, his quickness in the ring remains legendary, earning him world titles in multiple weight classes. The Hitman, Thomas Hearns. Yeah, he had fast hands, After he hit you with that all-time jab, he could put that right hand on you in a hurry, Yes, he could. Just delivered one to Sugar Ray right there. The Hitman. Hearns, also known as the Hitman. Now, Hearns was the first boxer to win championships in 5 different weight divisions. He earned the Boxer of the Year title in 1980 and 1984, two-time Fighter of the Year. Thomas the Hitman Hearns was known as a boxer with large arms that could reach his opponents easily. Many little people knew that he was indeed a master of quickness when it came to counterpunching. His speed was not just his hands, but all his reflexes worked according to his will once he started dominating his opponent. He had the reach and rapid punches to knock the wind out of his opponents' sails. He was the first boxer to win world championships in 5 different weight divisions and had a career record of 61 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, 48 knockouts. That's evidence of his strong punching and boxing skills. The Hitman. Okay? Sergio Martinez. Sergio on the right, looking at us. Another fast hander. Sergio Martinez. A marvel full of speed. Sergio is among the longest middleweight champions of all time, right? Martinez became Fighter of the Year in 2010. Excuse me. Sergio Martinez did not take on a boxing career until turning 21. However, his hand speed and punching accuracy were remarkable. His straight left hand was a weapon he used to great effect to knock out his opponents. Now, Martinez often fought with his hands down, which allowed him to capitalize with his swift and precise counterpunches. Now, the ability to use his hand speed as his main strength did not change as he made an incredible comeback in 2023 at the age of 48. Okay, we might talk about Sergio in the next segment too, right? Now, the ability to maintain a high speed in the later rounds of his fights allowed Sergio to outperform his opponents. Yeah, I think Sergio is on the list of the over 40 guys. Amir Khan. Amir Khan, we're talking about fast hands, right? Got to put Amir on there. Is that Amir? Yeah, okay. Now, Amir was a speedy star with a suspect chin. Amir Khan became the youngest Olympic medalist in the UK at the age of 17 in 2004. The British boxer was given a presidential award from the Pakistan government in 2014, right? I think he had joint citizenship in Pakistan and Great Britain. Okay, Amir King Khan used his hand speed effectively in his career to lay down his opponents. His speed carried him through multiple weight classes, allowing him to claim world titles in different weight divisions. The one thing that always remained a headache for Khan was his suspect chin. The boxers with high-speed punches can often lose control over their defense, as seen in all 6 defeats of Khan's career. Khan has an outstanding boxing record, though, 34-6, 21 knockouts. And his ability to deliver quick and successive punches listed him above the top British boxers in his era. Yeah, Amir Khan. Sweet Pea. Talk about fast hand. Pernell Whitaker. What's going on over in the chat? Not too much. How's everybody today? Appreciate everybody stopping by that's in the building so far. Hopefully we get some more coming. Now, Sweet Pea with the fast hands. Now, Whitaker holds the record for the longest unified lightweight championship reign in boxing history. I think he had 6. He became Fighter of the Year in 1989. Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker did not remain sweet while facing his opponents during his fights. Now, although he was known for his extraordinary defensive skills, his quick counterpunching were a surprising element of his boxing career. He was a defensive genius, right? And he could throw countless punches in the blink of an eye. Sweet Pea. And he had an outstanding career record of 40 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 17 knockouts. He was not a hard puncher or a knockout expert, but his speed was difficult to control for his opponents, right? Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Iron Mike Tyson, speed and power made him very dangerous during his reign. Iron Mike, okay? The baddest man on the planet, Iron Mike Tyson, okay? Tyson is among the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time. He became the youngest heavyweight champion in 1987, still is to this day. The legendary boxer could unleash a barrage of punches before his opponents could blink. Many people don't know how Mike Tyson got his start in boxing. Tyson was discovered in the Tryon School gym, this reformed juvenile detention center, when a social worker, Bobby Stewart, saw his punching speed, right? And Bobby introduced him to Cuss, and the rest was history. The blend of speed and power made Tyson the youngest boxer to win a heavyweight title. A career record of 50 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw, 44 knockouts, and the undisguised world championship reign of 3 years. Undisputed world championship reign of 3 years made Tyson one of the best in the world. His legacy in the ring for delivering those hard and ferocious punches will always remain undisputed. Iron Mike Tyson. Knockout ratio of what's in the 80s. Okay. I'm gonna stop. Iron Mike, 88% for Iron Mike. Okay. Winding down, top 5 of the fast puncher. At number 5, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Talking about fast punchers, Floyd Mayweather Jr. The best ever in the 2000s era. Okay. Now, Floyd never lost a fight in his career, spanning over 2 decades. He won multiple Fighter of the Year awards, along with 15 world championships. Now, Floyd Mayweather Jr. never tasted a loss in the boxing ring. His defensive skills often overshadowed his hand speed, but he was one of the fastest punchers in terms of reaction speed and accuracy. The best ever enjoyed huge success in the boxing ring in the last 2 decades and won 15 major world championships in different weight divisions. Floyd enjoyed success outside of boxing and entered WWE to work a match against Big Show. Mayweather focused heavily on speed and endurance during the training, which made him a challenging target even for the most skilled opponents. Okay. At number 4, the Pac-Man, Manny Pacquiao. There he is. The best boxer from the Philippines. Okay. Pacquiao is the only 8-division boxer in the world. He also held the office of senator in the Philippines. Okay. Politician too. Ran for president. Fell a little short. The Philippine boxer is a legend, not only in boxing, but his achievements outside boxing in various fields of life made him a person to follow. His rise from a humble beginning to become an 8-division boxing superstar is a treat for every boxing fan. Pacquiao's punching speed was the stuff of a legend. His rapid combination of punches and quick footwork made him difficult to control in the ring. Manny Pacquiao hit the record list by becoming the first boxer to win world championships in 4 different decades. 4 different decades and 8 weight divisions. Nobody else has done that. Now, Roberto Duran and Jack Johnson fought in 5 different decades, only 2. But Manny's the only one that won championships, okay? In 4 of them. At number 3, the greatest, Muhammad Ali, okay? The greatest heavyweight of all time. Ali became the BBC sports personality of the 20th century. He is undoubtedly the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time, okay? Not arguable. Muhammad Ali is the best of the best and made almost every boxing top 10 list. A fast combination of 5 punches against George Foreman in the legendary Rumble in the Jungle fight made Ali an elite in the list of fastest punchers. Ali turned more on the defensive side in the later part of his career, but he was among the quickest boxers during his early days. The famous Phantom Punch was the best weapon in his arsenal. Ali overwhelms his opponents with both the volume and velocity of punches. It's his rapid punching delivery that led him to some of the most exhilarating knockouts in boxing history. Number 2, Roy Jones Jr. Okay, winding down. Appreciate you, Terrell Cameron. Appreciate your support 1,000%, my brother. Roy Jones Jr., the man that possesses superhuman reflexes. Now, Roy became the first boxer to win the heavyweight title after starting his career in the junior middleweight division, okay? Now, the decline and rebuild of Roy Jones Jr. remained one of the best stories of any professional athlete. His exceptional hand speed and reflexes with great knockout power frequently determined the outcome of most of his fights. His famous Captain Hook was spectacular, which he could deliver with fast speed repeatedly. Roy Jones has the longest professional boxing career spanning 33 years. Jones had a knack for finding openings in his opponent's defense and exploiting them with fast-paced punches before they could react. There's no shame in saying that Roy Jones Jr. changed how boxers thought about defense and offense during a boxing fight with his outstanding body movements. And of course, you know number 1 is. Number 1 on every boxing list, right? Sugar Ray Robinson. Number 1 on any kind of list you can make, almost. And in the 100 knockout club too, 109 knockouts, right? The fastest puncher of all time. Now, Sugar Ray Robinson is ranked as the best pound-for-pound boxer by many boxing experts. ESPN named him the greatest boxer in its top 50 pound-for-pound boxers of all time, okay? Now, Sugar Ray Robinson was awarded the title of Best Pound-for-Pound Boxer of All Time by the Ring magazine, along with many boxing legends, right? And the introduction of pound-for-pound rankings in boxing was also associated with Sugar Ray's name. Robinson had 109 knockout wins in his career, which showed his knockout power. He had an uncanny sense of timing and rhythm while delivering punches. He could deliver power punches at a high speed that often blinded his opponents. The incredible legacy of boxing legend Sugar Ray Robinson could not be complete without giving proper credit to his hand speed and punching prowess. Okay, there you have it. 16 other fastest punching boxers in boxing history. Okay, so now let's get to the talk about these over 40 guys, some of the best boxing careers after 40 years old. Okay, that's the subject of today's show. Thomas Hill in the building. What's up, T Hill? Appreciate everybody that's in the building with me. Guess you could be doing any other thing you wanted to, but I appreciate you stopping here today. We got Miss Cass, Mike Mazik, Ray Patterson, Mike Grimm, Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more, Terrell Cameron, and Thomas Hill. Okay? Yeah, T Hill, I moved closer to the box today. You know, that's plugged in. Matter of fact, I can reach over there and touch it. That's how close to it I am. So we should be okay today. Right, T Hill? Matter of fact, I'm touching the main box, cable box right now. So we should be okay. Okay, let's get to it. Talk about these boxers that excelled past 40. These guys proved that age is nothing but a number. Okay? Age is nothing but a number to these men. Okay, let's get into it. Those two right there, B-Hop and Big George, probably had the best careers past 40. Okay? Big George was the oldest man in boxing history to win a title, and there's the man that took it from him on the left, B-Hop. Currently still the oldest fighter in boxing history at 49 is the record. Okay? 49. Now, why do some boxers continue fighting for many years after they are no longer in their prime? Okay? That's not what I'm looking for, though. Okay. I just looked at it before I got on here. Don't do this. There's what I'm looking for right there. What makes some boxers able to compete successfully well into their 40s, while others decline much earlier? Okay, that's what we were looking for right there, you know? But what makes some boxers able to compete successfully well into their 40s, while others decline much earlier? Let's talk about that, okay? Let's see something. Okay, yeah, I'm not ready for you yet, Vitaly. Yeah, Vitaly's one of the over 40 guys we're going to touch on today. Okay, so some boxers can compete successfully into their 40s due to a combination of physical, mental, and strategic factors, while others decline earlier because these elements don't hold up as well over time with some fighters, right? Now here's what separates the two groups. You know, the group that those things hold up on and they're going up into the 40s, and the ones that those factors don't hold up for, you know? Physical, mental, and strategic factors. What separates the two groups? Now, physically, it starts with genetics and wear and tear. Boxers like Bernard Hopkins or George Foreman had durable bodies, less prone to injury, right? Slower to lose speed or power. Hopkins, for instance, fought at an elite level until 51 years of age, winning titles in his late 40s, right? 49, as a matter of fact, is the record, okay? B-Hop. Y'all know I lost my place, right? Come on, guys. Yeah, winning titles, B-Hop won titles into his late 40s. 49, he has the record at 49. Now contrast that with someone like Mike Tyson, whose prime faded by his early 30s. His style relied heavily on explosive athleticism, which erodes faster than endurance or technique, right? Like B-Hop used. Now, older champs often have freakish recovery ability too. Less scar tissue, better joint health, right? Training matters here. Those who adapt with lower impact methods, more skill drills, less sparring, preserve themselves longer. Now, overtraining, too many brutal fights early on, burns others out, right? Now think of how Fernando Vargas declines fast after slugfest with Trinidad and De La Hoya, okay? Now mentally, oh my goodness, I hit the end button. Okay, we're back. Now mentally, it's about discipline and adaptability, right? Long-lasting boxers tend to live clean. No heavy drinking, drugs, or weight swings, okay? Foreman famously came back in his 40s after a decade off, leaner and smarter, not partying his prime away, right? Experience also builds ring IQ. They read opponents better, waste less energy. Younger fighters leaning on raw talent like Adrian Broner often stalled when reflexes slipped, okay? And had habits catch up to them. Confidence plays a role too. Veterans who've seen it all don't panic, while early declines might lose belief after a few setbacks, okay? Yeah, confidence plays a big part in it. Strategy shifts are key. Successful 40-somethings reinvent themselves. Hopkins became a defensive master, picking shots surgically, not brawling, okay? Foreman turned into a patient power puncher, not the reckless mauler of his youth. Definitely changed his style. Compares that to someone like Roy Jones Jr., whose flash and speed game crumbled past 35 when his legs slowed. He didn't adjust. He kept showboating and took beatings. The older boxers who pick fights wisely, avoiding grinders, targeting fading names, stay competitive longer. Simple as that. And promoters help here, but it's also about knowing your limits. Now, here's a big one here. A big one to the key of fighting long careers up into your 40s. Lifestyle outside the ring seals it, okay? Money mismanagement, legal trouble, or family chaos. Tyson's a poster child for these things. Derail some early, right? Others, like Manny Pacquiao, was still winning at 40 years old. Keep focus, faith, routine, and purpose. Data backs this up. A 2018 study on athletic longevity showed elite performers across sports often share obsessive self-care and stress management, not just talent, okay? Not just talent. They're obsessive at their self-care and stress management. So it's durability, smarts, and choices. Those who defy age master all three of these things. Those are the big keys. Durability, being smart, and making the right choice. And the rest get exposed when the body can't cash the checks anymore, right? They get exposed. When the body can't cash their check, their style rights, it's all over for you, okay? Now let's talk about some of these 40-year-olds, some of these great 40-year-olds. Ken Love won, Jarrell Hattie in the building. We're talking about some of the great 40-year-old boxers. Yeah, ain't that right, Jarrell? They fade when the body can't cash their check that the style rights. But the big three things, like I said, are the main three things that for longevity in any sport is durability, being smart, and making the right choices outside the ring. That's it, okay? But salute to Ken Love, one and Jarrell Hattie. Yeah, let's talk about some of these 40-year-olds some of these fighters that fought on up into their careers now, like Big George and B-Hop. Okay, the Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. Shoot, Roberto might still be fighting. Is he fighting? Is he fighting Saturday? Who knows? Roberto might still be fighting. The Hands of Stone. Mm-hmm. The only reason he stopped because he had a life-threatening car accident when he was like 52. That's the only reason he stopped. You know, the doctors told him, "You gotta still one of them young boys gonna kill you, Roberto." Yeah, he had a life-threatening car accident though. That was when we gave it up. But he might be back in there. I wouldn't put it past him. Okay, we're gonna talk about some of these boxes now. Okay. I'm stalling because I can't find it. There it is. 10 of the best boxers over 40 years of age of all time. Okay? Got 10 of them. 10 of the best boxers over 40 of all time. There's 2 of them right there. You know those 2 on there. Even a casual fan will say B-Hop and George Foreman when you're talking about great fighters over 40. Even a casual fan would name those 2. Floyd 40 when he spanked Canelo. No, I think he was up in his 30s, Jarrell. But Floyd, exhibitions, he was still fighting exhibitions over 40. He was at like 37, 38 though, Jarrell. He was very close to it. Very close to it. Yeah. But Floyd is one of those ones, those 3 things I said. The smarts and making the right choices outside the ring, right? And I forgot the other one already. But Floyd was religious on those things, man. Yeah, Floyd was. I don't think Floyd ever took a drink in his life. But yeah, we're going to talk about some of these fighters now. Now, combat sports are a bit different than most other sports. Now, while it's true that athletes who step into the boxing ring or the cage can suffer tons of brain trauma. There is also a much smaller barrier to entry. So while a 45-year-old might not be able to make an NFL roster, except not if your name ain't Tom Brady, that is, they could hypothetically sign up for a professional fight. Okay? However, it's pretty rare to see boxers have success past the age of 40. Now, that being said, it can be done. These 10 athletes we're going to talk about today were able to fight off Father Time longer than most expected and find tremendous success despite their ages. Yeah, like I said, you're not going to find many 45-year-olds make an NFL roster. Like I said, not unless your name is Tom Brady. What was he, 46? Won the Super Bowl at 45. He wasn't just on the roster, was still starring, man. Still one of the top quarterbacks out there, okay? Winning Super Bowls and stuff. Past age 40. The legendary Tom Brady. Okay, he was another one. That was those three things. He was religious about them. I forgot the first one, but your choices, I forgot two of them now. I remember making the right choices. Okay, but Tom Brady was religious about those things. Michael Jordan, another one. Floyd, yeah. Those guys were all about their craft, man. And anytime they show you how important practice is. Tom Brady, Mike Jordan, Floyd still practice, okay? So practice makes perfect, okay? Now, the first one is Vitaly Klitschko. Talking about some of these guys past 40. Vitaly Klitschko, okay? Former three-time heavyweight champion. And Dr. Arnfist was still a champion into his early 40s. Yep, he sure was. Dr. Arnfist still had a title going into his 40s. Now, while Vitaly Klitschko didn't win as many world titles as his brother, Vladimir, he still had an incredible run. The Ukrainian rose to prominence in the late 90s, winning the WBO title against Herbie Hyde in the summer of 1999. Over the next 2 decades, he would establish himself as one of the greatest of his era. After a 4-year hiatus to focus on politics, he returned to boxing at age 37 in 2008. He would continue competing until he was 41 and would never lose another fight. In that run, he won WBC gold again and defeated names such as Derek Chisora, Shannon Briggs, and Chris Arreola. And the only 2 fights Vladimir lost was due to injury. He lost on cuts because he couldn't continue with Lennox Lewis, and Chris Bird, his shoulder was messed up. And both times he was leading on all the judges' cards at the time of the stoppage. So Vladimir could very well be, he was 41-2, he very well could have been 43-0, okay? And Lennox Lewis did not want a rematch with Vladimir. Guess what Lennox Lewis did? Lennox Lewis retired. Instead of giving Vladimir that rematch, he retired. Okay, next, we have Mr. JCC, talking about 40-year-olds, great careers after 40. How about JCC? Another former 3-division world champion, Julio Cesar Chavez. This Mexican legend found a way to defy all the odds. Julio did, yeah. JCC. Oh, I forgot to tell you. After 40 years old, Vladimir Klitschko was 3-0. Never lost a fight after 40, okay? Forgot that. And after JCC was 40, he went 4-1. Had 5 fights in his 40s, won 4 of them, okay? Now, basically, everything about Julio Cesar Chavez's career seems improbable. And that includes how long he kept fighting. The Mexican boxer didn't suffer his first career loss until he was in his early 30s and was 89-0 with 1 draw when he got that first loss, okay? Now, while Chavez began to struggle in his late 30s, he continued competing, got his second win when he turned 40. He retired in 2001, but ended his retirement 2 years later at age 41 for a few final fights, 5 more fights and won 4 of them. He would then knock out former champion Willie Wise, defeated Frankie Randall in their rubber match, and defeated former title challenger Yvonne Robinson before hanging it up in 2005. Again, 4-1 after 40. Yeah. JCC. Okay, we got The Real Deal, Evander Holyfield, former undisputed cruiserweight and heavyweight champion, Evander Holyfield. The Real Deal nearly made history at age 46. He almost got his 5th title at heavyweight. Only one with 4. He almost got 5. Okay. And after 40 years old, Holyfield went. His record was 1-6, lost 6, lost 1. I mean, had 1 draw after 40. Had 13 fights, 6-6 with 1 draw after 40 for The Real Deal. Okay. What's happening in the chat? Anything? It's all good. Okay. All right. Yeah. Now, Evander Holyfield is an absolute legend of the sport of boxing. The Real Deal began his career at cruiserweight and won all the titles there in the 80s. I think he had a couple at light heavyweight before cruiserweight, but when he hit cruiserweight was where he had many fights before him, more than light heavyweight. Really started at cruiserweight, right? And he won all the titles there in the 80s. He then moved up to heavyweight in the 90s and did the same thing there. The only man to ever match his accomplishments is the current unified heavyweight champion, Alexander Usyk. He went from cruiserweight to heavyweight also. Usyk did. However, Usyk likely won't be able to match Holyfield's success in his 40s. Okay? Holyfield fought deep in his 40s, retiring at age 48 after a knockout win over former champion Brian Nielsen. However, Holyfield's best moment came 2 years previous to that, when he nearly upset the giant Nikolai Valuev in 2008. That was a 7'7" guy, right? If the 46-year-old would have gotten the judge's nod, he would have become the oldest heavyweight champion ever, and he would have gotten his 5th time being heavyweight champion. Yeah, he would have passed Big George, but Valuev pulled it out. I have never seen that fight. I gotta watch that. Of course, you gotta put Manny on there. Over 40. The Pac-Man. Yeah. Pac-Man could end up having, don't forget that. Yeah, Manny Pac-Man, 42 his 40s, okay? And 2-1. He was 2-1 after 40. 1-2, lost 1. Manny. Now, according to several reports, oh, wait a minute, this is all messed up, man. Yeah, but the big thing, man, he did, he beat Keith Thurman at 40 years old, okay? And then he fought Ugas. He lost that one. That was his final fight. He was in his 40s then too. But yeah, he won. He's the oldest welterweight champion in history. Okay. And while the legend's resume is already incredible resume. Legacy set, 8 division world champion, Manny Pacquiao. Larry Holmes. Kind of messed up on Manny a little, but yeah. Still great fighter past 40. Oldest welterweight champion ever at 40 years old. And 2-1 after the age of 40. Okay. Larry Holmes. There's Larry to the left. Okay, excuse me for a minute. I can't believe it's 3 o'clock. I just been on here for 10 minutes. Right, Mike Mazik? Been on here 10 minutes. I don't know how it's 3 o'clock already. Somebody playing with the time. Phone. the tablet, laptop got 503, so I guess that's the right time. Larry Holmes is next. Talk about the great fighters over 40. And we also got some of these same fighters' best performances past 40 coming up too. After this, we're going to look at some of their top fights when they were in their 40s. Now, Larry, the Eastern Assassin, fought for gold 3 times after turning 40, within 3 title fights after 40. And get this, after Larry Holmes turned 40, he had 24 fights, okay? Went 21-3 after turning 40. Larry Holmes. That might be the record for the most fights ever after 40. I think it probably is. Mm-hmm. Now, Larry Holmes' career just never gets the respect that it deserves. That right there, 24 fights after 40, never gets the respect though. Still doesn't. Now, while most finally remember the Eastern Assassin for his run in the 80s, including wins over Muhammad Ali and Jerry Cooney, the end of his career doesn't get the same love. For whatever reason, most don't remember what Holmes did after losing to Mike Tyson in 1988. That's where most people forget Larry Holmes after they lost to Tyson, but he went long after that. He had almost 30 more fights after they lost to Mike Tyson, 24 in his age 40s. To be fair, Holmes did retire after losing to Iron Mike. He did retire. However, he returned 3 years later at age 41. Now, while Holmes never held a world title again, he was in 3 fights after 40, and he put on some wars, and he came close against the likes of Evander Holyfield, Oliver McCall, and Brian Nielsen. Holmes also scored decisive wins over names such as Ray Mercer and Eric Butterbean Esch, whom he defeated in his final fight at age 52. That's right, 52. Larry don't get enough love, man. Everybody forget Larry after that Tyson fight. Now he did retire, but he came back too. Like I said, he had almost 30 more fights. He had 24 more fights after that, man. Mm-hmm. In his 40s. Let me clear my throat. Gotta get ready for this. Okay, ready? My great fighters after 40. The Hands of Stone. Roberto Duran. Former 40 Division World Champion Roberto Duran. Hands of Stone didn't retire until he was 50 years old. And we got better check. He might still be fighting. Okay, I'm not sure. But after 40, Holmes don't have a record at 24. Roberto fought 27 times after 40. Won 18 and lost 9. That might be the record. He had 27 fights after 40. Roberto did. Roberto Duran was simply built different. The Panamanian fighter became a legend by fighting through multiple different weight classes and just bringing the fight to anyone and everyone. Okay, he's only one of two men that fought in 5 different decades. Him and Jack Johnson. Roberto fought in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Okay. Roberto last became champion at age 37 with a win over Iran Barkley, but he wouldn't retire for well over another decade after that. Duran competed a staggering 27 times after turning 40, fighting several big names and defeating the likes of former champion Jorge Castro. He finally retired in 2001 at age 50 after losing his rematch against Hector Camacho. And he only retired because he was in a life-threatening car accident. Okay. BBO Boxing TV from the Sports Talk Network is in the house. Salute, BBO. How are you today, bro? We're talking about the guys that excelled past 40. And you hear that, BBO? Roberto Duran had 27 fights after 40. That's got to be the record. Don't it, BBO? 27. Holmes had 24. I thought that was the record. Then here come Roberto Duran with 27 after 40. So that's part of the record. But maybe not. Maybe not. But yeah, that's the most I know of. 27 fights after 40 years old. And won 19 of them. Okay, and lost 8. Okay, after Roberto, we got Sugar Ray Robinson. He fought until his 40s. Sugar Ray did. Yes, he did. Sugar Ray Robinson. Former 6-time world champion. Okay. One of the greatest of all time. Competed until he was 44 years of age. Sugar Ray went to 44. And after age 40, nope, Roberto not the record. Nope, we don't. Nope. Scratch that. 28 is not it. Sorry, Roberto. After this got to be it here. This got to be it. I don't know this. But after 40, Sugar Ray Robinson had 44 fights after 40. Okay. No, I think Archie Moore going to beat him. Archie coming up. But Sugar Ray had 44. After 40 years old, Sugar Ray won 30, lost 10, had 3 draws, and won no contest. So 44 is the top right now. But the old Mongoose coming up, so that ain't the record. No. Now, Sugar Ray Robinson is one of the oldest fighters on this list in terms of when he was competing. The legendary welterweight was one of the sport's earliest and biggest stars. His wars with Jake LaMotta in the 40s and 50s are the stuff of legend, and his world titles made him one of the greatest to ever step into the squared circle. Sugar Ray Robinson's longevity is a big part of his legacy as well. He competed all the way until 1965, and he retired at age 44 with an absolutely staggering 178 wins to his credit. Yeah, I think he had 25 years, 1940 to 1965. Okay. Okay, next is Big George. Coming up on Archie Moore, I think, what was Sugar Ray 44, right? I think Archie going to pass that. Yeah, I think Archie going to pass it. Sugar Ray had 44, BBL. That's the record so far. But Archie Moore coming up. Okay, Big George, former 2-time heavyweight champion. Now, Big George won heavyweight gold at age 45 years old. He's the oldest heavyweight champion. Used to be the oldest in boxing, period, but B-Hop passed that. B-Hop blew that out the water. B-Hop broke his own record twice. It stands at 49 right now for the oldest in boxing. But like I said, Roberto Duran might still be fighting. He's like 70. So if he can get a title, he'll pass B-Hop. But Big George. Now, after 40, Big George had 20 fights on the dot. He won 17-3. 17 lost 3 after turning 40. So Sugar Ray's 40, 45, right? I think that stands right now. But we haven't got to Archie Moore yet, though. Remember? Now, George Foreman might have had the greatest singular arc in boxing history. Big George stormed onto the scene in the 1970s and would dominate opponent after opponent. However, after an upset loss to Jimmy Young in 1977, he retired. He would leave the sport for religion and wouldn't compete for another 10 years. Now, Foreman returned a much calmer and older man. I told y'all many times that Bruce Gas will tell you, people that saw Foreman in the 40s and then saw him again in the late 80s, but we didn't even believe that was the same person. I mean, it was totally different. You know, the 70s Foreman was always all frowned up and grimacing, and then the 80s Foreman just kept a smile on his face. You know, we thought it was just like another fighter named George Foreman. Like, that's not the same George Foreman, no way. Right? But it was him. But anyway, yeah, when he came back like a different person, much calmer and older man. Now, while it took time for him to get back to contendership, he ended his time on top. Foreman scored a knockout win over Michael Moorer in 1994 and became the oldest heavyweight champion of all time at 45. That still stands. Till Roberto Duran break it at 70-something. Now, while his time with the gold was brief, he stayed competitive until retiring at age 48. And he broke 3 records in that fight with Michael Moorer, of course, becoming the oldest heavyweight champion ever. It was the oldest period in between a fighter winning the heavyweight championship at 20 years, remember 74 to 94, and also it was the biggest age differential between two fighters competing in a heavyweight fight. He was 19 years older than Michael Moorer, so it really made history that night. Yeah. And Teddy Atlas told Michael Moorer to stay away from him, boxing from the outside, and because Michael Moorer had to fight one, but Michael Moorer didn't listen. He went in there and ran straight up in there to George, and George caught him. Teddy told him, box from the outside for these last couple of rounds. You got it. No, Michael Moorer gonna style and run right up in his pocket. Big George took him out. Okay, next is Bernard Hopkins. You can't make a list of over 40 greatness about B-Hop. That's criminal. That's a crime. There he is. How can you make a greatness over 40 in boxing list without B-Hop on it? No way. No way. The police would come take me out of here, man. Former 2-division world champion, Bernard Hopkins. Okay? And he was an active champion until he was 50 years old. Okay, B-Hop. Now, after 40, B-Hop had 18 fights. He won 10, lost 6, had 1 draw and 1 no contest. Now, Archie Moore is next. Okay, we're going to find out what the record is next. I know Archie had more than 45. What Sugar Ray had 45? I know Archie had more than that. We're getting ready to find out. But B-Hop had 18 after 40, 10 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw and 1 tie. And remember, after this, we're going to talk about some of these fighters' best performances after 40 in a moment, okay? Some of their best fights after 40. We're going to touch on that. Now, Bernard Hopkins' longevity is absolutely insane to think about. Now, while some fighters on this list retired and then came back, that was not the case with B-Hop. Instead, B-Hop was at the top of middleweight and light heavyweight essentially from the 90s to the 2010s. Yeah, B-Hop didn't have no break. Most of them took a break in between. B-Hop just fought straight through and was at the top for almost 20 years, man. However, Hopkins' legacy was grown a lot more by the second half of his career compared to the first half. He even broke George Foreman's record for the oldest world champion. And while he later lost the gold to Chad Dawson, he reclaimed 2 world titles and last reigned at age 49. Here we go, Archie Moore. We get ready to find out what the most fights after 40 is. Former light heavyweight title holder Archie Moore. And Archie took him 16 years to get a shot. He started at 23, didn't get a shot till 39. But when he got it, he kept it 10 years because Archie knew if he lost it, he might not never get another shot. So, and he fought for 28 years. Archie was about 80 when he retired. No, not that old, but he was up there. I'm going to tell you. Old Mongoose didn't get his nickname by accident because he was the Mongoose when he started. But he fought so long, they started calling him the Old Mongoose. Now, here we go. Let's see here. I told you. Yep. Archie had 50 fights on the dot after 40. That's probably the record. Yeah, he passed Sugar Ray. He had 50 on the dot. He won 44, lost 4, had 2 draws. Yeah, I knew Archie had the most. 50 on the dot after turning 40. Yep. Now, Archie Moore is the first name that many fans think of when it comes to old boxing. And it makes sense. The Old Mongoose didn't get that nickname by accident because he was the Mongoose, just the Mongoose, remember? And he remained competitive far longer than anyone would expect him to. Given the era he competed in, his longevity is even crazier. He fought Ali, all of them. Man fought Rocky Marciano and Ali. Wow, that's crazy, ain't it? Archie Moore did it, though. Moore last won the light heavyweight title at age 47 in 1961. Look at that, 47 years old when he got his title back, 1961, by defeating Giulio Rinaldi by unanimous decision. However, he wasn't finished yet. He still fought on for another 2 years after that. Moore's last fight came at age 49, scoring a knockout over professional boxer Iron Mike DiBiase. I mean, wrestler. This was a wrestler. Iron Mike DiBiase. You thought I was going to say Iron Mike Tyson right now. Iron Mike DiBiase. He was Ted DiBiase's father. Remember Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man? Yeah, Iron Mike DiBiase was his father. Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna look at some of the performances they gave past age 40. Some of the actual fights these guys were in. Same guys, Fisco, Manny. Where's the light at? Oh, there it is. Archie, B-Hop, Big George, JCC, Okay, let's get into that. But appreciate everybody coming through. Hope you're enjoying the show. Matter of fact, let's see what's happening in the chat. Okay. Yeah. R.I.P. George Foreman. Yeah, Archie had 50 though. That's got to be the record. I was saying everybody, but then I remembered Archie Moore is on this list. That's why he's number one. So yeah, 50. 50 fights after age 40. 144 lost 4, 1 draw. And I think he had 1 no contest. Yeah, it is right in front of me. Let me see. No, 44 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws. 58. Okay, let's talk about some of these performances they gave after 40 now. A fight apiece for most of them. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna see them at work. See him in the ring doing work after 40, putting that work in. The old Mongoose, Big George, the Executioner / Alien, B-Hop. I like the Executioner nickname better than the Alien. Right? Okay, here we go. Some of the greatest performances by fighters over 40 years old. Ageless wonders. That's what they call them. Ageless wonder. Okay? All right, let's get into it. Now, Manny Pacquiao joined an exclusive fraternity when he defeated Keith Thurman by split decision, right? That was in July 2019. The ageless Filipino had turned 40 the previous December, which made his remarkable performance one of the best ever among fighters who are at least 40 years old. Now, how does it compare with other great performances by those 40 plus year olds? Here's a list of 10 that stand out in order of magnitude, okay? I'm glad Manny didn't fight Earl Spence though, because look what Ugas did to him. Manny should have been out of there. Okay, but the first one is George Foreman and Michael Moorer, right? There's Michael on the mat there. And Teddy Atlas told him before that round, box the rest of the fight from the outside, because all you got to do is finish on your feet. So Michael went straight up and into the pocket, man, and that's what happened to him. That was the result. Listen to your corner. If you're not going to listen to your corner, what save the money, be your own corner. If you're not going to listen to your corner, that's like a waste of money, right? You're paying them guys for that information. And he went out there and that's what happened to him, right? And Teddy Atlas was one of the greatest trainers out there. There you go, you can see him better. That's what happened to him. Not listening to your corner. Okay? Big George he had no chance with Michael Morris outboxing from the outside, man. But no, he wanted to style and profile. And that's what happened. Okay, let's talk about it. Big George Foreman, 10th round knockout over Michael Moorer. Okay. This was November 5th, 1994 at Las Vegas, Nevada. At stake was the IBF and WBA heavyweight titles. Foreman was 45 years old at that time. Now, turn this light off. Now, Foreman's performance essentially came down to one punch, but oh, what a punch it was. Moorer, who had outpointed Evander Holyfield to win the title in his previous fight, used his boxing skills and athleticism to control what seemed to be a mismatch against his strong but plodding opponent. Now, those at ringside could be heard saying things like, "This fight is a travesty. This shouldn't have happened." And then, ba-boom. Moorer might have gotten a little lazy for a moment, and Foreman slipped the right hand through his guard, putting him flat on his back. Okay, here he is again. Okay, putting him flat on his back. Lost my place. Yeah, Foreman slipped it right through the guard, put Moorer flat on his back to become the oldest man to win a major championship in any division at that time. Still stands at heavyweight. The victory came almost exactly 20 years to the day after he lost the heavyweight crown to Muhammad Ali, Big George. Okay. All right, Archie Moore. Don't have a picture of the fight. Archie Moore had an 11th round knockout over Yvonne Durrell. Yvonne Durrell, okay? And this fight was in 1958 in Montreal, Canada. I think Durrell is Canadian, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Moore was 45 years of age, right? He won by 11th round knockout. Now, boxing historians love this fight for obvious reasons. Moore went down 3 times and was hurt badly in the first round and appeared to be on his way to an upset loss against the rugged Canadian. Yeah, he is Canadian, Durrell is, yeah. And the fight was in Canada. And Moore went down once again in round 5. He had been campaigning at heavyweight in a series of fights before this one. It seems his 40-plus body has finally caught up with him and couldn't take the weight loss back down to light heavyweight. Then, in a demonstration of inhuman determination, Moore turned things completely around. He put Durrell down 4 times and won the unforgettable fight by an 11th round knockout. By the way, he stopped Durrell in the 3rd round the following year. Okay, yeah, they had a rematch, and Moore stopped in the following year in the 3rd round. Okay, Archie Moore. Then we have B-Hop against John Pascal. There you go, hitting buttons. In case I in the chat by mistake, I'll see y'all tomorrow. But I haven't done it yet, just in case. Saying goodbye now. Okay, B-Hop and John Pascal. Okay, this was in 2011, also in Canada. At stake was Pascal's WBC light heavyweight title. Hopkins was 46 years old for this one. Hopkins won by unanimous decision. Now, we could have went with a number of B-Hop's post-40 fights, okay? Antonio Tarver, Kelly Pavlik, Tavoris Cloud, Beirut Shubinov, but we're going with the one over Pascal, right? This was a rematch. They had a draw 6 months earlier, right? Now, remember, Hopkins was trying to supplant George Foreman as the oldest to win a major championship, right? Because Hopkins was 46 at this time, okay? So he was trying to become the oldest. Also, remember that Pascal was highly respected. The Ring magazine had Pascal as a 175-pound champion, okay? And although it was close and competitive, the old man, still a brilliant technician, outboxed a championship-level opponent, 17 years his junior, to win the WBC belt. If Hopkins wasn't a legend before that fight, he certainly was after it. B-Hop. Okay? This one is Manny and Keith Thurman. Man, I keep hitting this button, man. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Just happened. I'm serious, man. By closing, I'm saying goodbye now. See y'all tomorrow. Okay, it is Manny and Keith Thurman. That's next. Manny and Keith Thurman. Of course, this everybody remember this was 2019 at the MGM Grand out there in Vegas. At stake was Keith Thurman's WBA welterweight title. Manny was 40 at the time. He won by split decision. Excellent fight. That knockdown in the first round was the difference, remember? Now, Pacquiao had looked good against Lucas Matisse and Adrian Broner leading up to this fight, right? But the WBA champion, Thurman, was a different level challenge. He was unbeaten, a big, strong welterweight, and athletic. And Thurman had been dealing with nagging injuries and looked a little shaky against Josecito Lopez in his previous fight before the Pacquiao fight. But he was still Keith Thurman, still one of the best 147-pounders out there. Now, that's what made Pacquiao's accomplishment so special. Still quick, still clever, Pacquiao put Thurman down in the very first round to set the tone. He fought well in bursts, withstood Thurman's rally in the middle rounds, and then did well down the stretch. To have his hand raised, it arguably was the greatest victory of Pacquiao's long legendary career. The Pac-Man, yep. That was a big one for Manny there. If we're just talking about some of these 40-year-olds, some of the actual, looking at an actual fight for each one of them, each of the 10. We're looking at an actual fight, looking at them at work after 40. Okay? Next is Larry Holmes. There's Larry sitting there getting a rest. Okay, Larry Holmes, 1992 in New Jersey. Larry was 42, no titles on the line. And he was going up, he won by unanimous decision. And he was going up against Ray Mercer. Okay? Now, Holmes had already lost back-to-back fights against Michael Spinks coming into this one. And he had brutally been knocked out by Mike Tyson a few years earlier. Okay? Now, he beat some second-tier opponents subsequently, but few observers gave him much of a chance against Mercer, the Olympic gold medalist, who Tommy Morrison, his most recent fight, he had knocked Tommy Morrison out of his most recent fight, Mercer had. Nobody gave Holmes much of a chance. Now, Mercer was a 41 favorite. Holmes was still skillful and fit for his age. He outclassed Mercer. In the end, he outsmarted Mercer and outboxed him to win a clear decision and put himself in position to fight for the title. And remember, he was competitive against the prime Evander Holyfield in that title fight, which came directly after his win over Mercer. Holmes was still a good fighter into his 40s. Yep. Larry Holmes. Next is Bob Fitzsimmons. We didn't have Bob on the other one, but Bob Fitzsimmons, he was way back there. Bob was 40. This fight was in 1903. Let's talk about Bob very quick. Back to 1903. Now, he was the first man to go from middleweight, win a middleweight title, and then move up to win a heavyweight title. When I always say Roy Jones was the first in 106 years to do it. Bob Fitzsimmons was the first to do it. He did it in 1897. Okay? This might be the fight. Now, he was 40 years old. He won by a 20-round decision against George Gardner. Now, Fitzsimmons already had Hall of Fame credentials entering this fight. Called him Ruby Robert. He had held the middleweight and heavyweight titles, the latter of which he won in the 14th round by stopping James J. Corbett with his legendary solar plexus punch in 1897. He lost the title to Jeffries in 1902, after which the light heavyweight division was created, right? So Fitzsimmons, a natural 175-pounder, by then challenged champion Gardner at the old Mechanics Pavilion before it was destroyed in 1906. It was in San Francisco, right? By the San Francisco earthquake is what destroyed it. Now, Fitzsimmons didn't exactly destroy Gardner, but he forced him to retire after 13 of a scheduled 20 rounds. Fitzsimmons retired in 1914 and died 3 years later. Okay? Thulani Malinga. Another one we didn't cover in the other part, but yeah, we're going to talk about one fight. Thulani Malinga. This fight was in 1996, going up against Nigel Benn, okay? Tullow West Arena, Newcastle, England. Wasn't that a good fight Saturday between Eubanks and Benn? That was a great fight, man. Very competitive fight. Yeah, Benn did his thing. The judges got it right, but yeah, Benn did his thing, man. He wasn't overmatched at all. Great fight. I still don't like him. Malinga was 40. He's a cheater. Now, Sugar Boy Malinga found his greatest success at an age when most fighters are well into decline. The South African fighter went 4-5 in a 9-fight stretch from 1990 to 1993, including losses to Chris Eubanks, Nigel Benn, and Roy Jones Jr. But he bounced back to win 5 straight fights and earned another shot at Nigel Benn, who held the WBC middleweight belt. Malinga outboxed and outworked his rival to overcome a knockdown and win a split decision, giving him his first major world title at the age of 40. Benn said afterward that he underestimated Malinga, even though their first fight was close. The lesson there, never underestimate any opponent, particularly one as good as Malinga. I don't care how old he is, okay? We got a B-Hop again, another one for B-Hop. Okay, B-Hop against Kelly Pavlik. 2008, B-Hop was 43 for this one in Atlantic City. No titles on the line. Now, B-Hop won by unanimous decision, okay, over Pavlik. In retrospect, it seems clear that a fighter should think carefully about moving up in weight to fight an all-time great, even one at least somewhat beyond his peak. That's what Pavlik did. The young star from Youngstown, Ohio, was a hot fighter at the time. He had defeated, in succession, Edison Miranda at 160, and Jermaine Taylor at 168, and Gary Lockett at 160, going into this fight with B-Hop, which took place at a catchweight of 170. It wasn't much of a fight. Hopkins gave Pavlik a frustrating boxing lesson to win all but one or two rounds and prove that he had plenty left in the tank as his 44th birthday approached. And as we know, he was way far from finish, went all the way to 50, I believe. A couple more. Cornelius Bundridge. I got another interesting piece after this too. This was in 2014 in Cancun, Mexico. Bundridge was going up against Carlos Molina, 41 years of age. Okay. Molina's IBF junior middleweight title was on the line for this. Now, Bundridge had his greatest success in his late 30s and early 40s. From Michigan, he was a rough, clever boxer. He had lost a close majority decision to Ishe Smith in the third defense of his 154-pound title early the previous year. But he wasn't deterred. He rebounded to outpoint Joey Hernandez to set up a meeting with Molina, who had taken Smith's belt by a split decision. Bundridge was near his best, putting the capable Molina down twice en route to a one-sided decision that allowed him to become the oldest ever to win a major junior middleweight title. Okay, oldest to win a junior middleweight title. Now, he lost his belt to Jamal Charlo by a third-round knockout in his first defense, right? And that was it for him. I don't think he fought after that. And finally, Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray was going up against Denny Moyer, okay? And this was in 1961. Sugar Ray was 40 on the dot at Madison Square Garden. No titles at stake. Sugar Ray won by unanimous decision. Now, Sugar Ray had to be on this list, right? Sugar Ray had a long career after turning 40, fighting 44 times. Like I told you, 30 wins, 10 losses. and 3 draws, right? That's 43. I think, one no contest. That's 44, right? One no contest. Now, although he never fought for a major title in his 40s, right? Now, his best win was probably his unanimous decision win over Moyer. Moyer was 22 years old at the time, 18 Sugar Ray's Jr., who would go on to become a junior middleweight title holder. Now, Robinson no longer had the blazing quick feet and hand speed of his youth, but he retained good physical tools and a ring acumen that was as sharp as ever. That allowed him to outpoint a solid young opponent in a close fight. However, in the rematch 16 months later, Moyer dominated his once great opponent en route to a one-sided decision. Robinson, generally considered the greatest fighter ever, fought until 1965, but struggled down the stretch at the end. Yes. Okay. I want to talk about this. Let's see. This is about do boxers. Well, let's get into it. Do boxers have short lifespans? It's a serious subject here. I ran across this morning, or yesterday, I think. Do boxers have short lifespans? I really wanted to talk about this. This is interesting. We already ascertained recently that all boxers suffer from brain damage to a certain extent. Some not that bad, but they all suffer from brain damage. And they said you can get brain damage quicker from sparring than you can an actual fight. Okay? That's interesting. Willie Pep, one of the great, and being a great defensive fighter doesn't excuse you from that brain damage, because Willie Pep, one of the greatest defensive fighters of all time, died from pugilistic dementia. Okay? And like they say, you get boxing brain damage quicker from sparring as a boxer than from the actual fights. But do boxers have shorter lifespans than other athletes and just people in general? Talk about it. If I can find it. Watch me not find it. Yeah. I'll put this up there. These two boxers both took a lot of damage in their 3 fights. And I know both of them got brain damage. Okay. That's Scotty and Ward. Okay. Here we go. Do boxers have shorter lifespans? Let's talk about that. Now, pro boxers live a significantly shorter life than the average man. Pro boxers also have the shortest lifespan of any professional athlete. The numbers are terrifying if you like the sweet science, okay? Pro boxers have a lifespan over 5 years less than the average male. The average male lives 72.6 years in the United States. Boxing is the only sport in the study that shortens a person's lifespan rather than extending it, okay? How long does the average boxer live? It didn't say. But boxing, like I said, your boxers have the shortest lifespan of any professional athlete. Pro boxers had the shortest life expectancy among athletes of all sports by a considerable margin, where all other sports in the study had a life expectancy ranging from the mid-70s to early 80s. The life expectancy of a pro boxer was just 67.7 years. That's 5 years less than the average man, okay? 67.7 years. The sport with the longest life expectancy was tennis, 80.4 years, okay? Tennis. Interesting. Okay. What are the reasons for this? Now, the reasons for early death, like the averages themselves, are worse in boxing. There are studies that link 22.9% of the professional boxers with a cause of death that's linked to neural trauma, Okay? Professor Alan Pierce, neuroscientist with over 20 years experience, director of neuroscience labs, and adjunct professor at La Trobe University, said about the higher link between boxing and head injuries, leading to a significantly shorter life. When it comes to boxing, it's likely that this data reflects an effect of the accumulation of multiple bodily injuries, particularly impacts to the brain. See, the brain not meant to be punched on, okay? Yeah, particularly impacts to the brain during competitive boxing over their lifetime, okay? Now, there's no doubt that repetitive head knocks are associated with cognitive impairment, early onset dementia, and therefore contributing to reduced life expectancy. In his devastating book on boxing and brain damage, called Damage, The Untold Stories of Brain Trauma in Boxing, Tris Dixon documents how every single medical study shows that every single boxer sustains neural trauma to some level. Brain damage. Every boxer. Okay? Tris Dixon said, the light came on for him when he read the NFL study on CTF. And he said, this is boxing. CTE is actually punch drunk syndrome. It was a big epiphany for me. Hang on, the NFL are addressing this, but we do nothing in boxing. He said, I've been in boxing 25 years and I didn't even know about CTE, right? This doctor, okay? Been studying boxing for 25 years, didn't even know about CTE. Now, in other words, all boxers had some evidence of chronic trauma, and 17 boxers out of 100 suffered dementia as a direct result of fighting, okay? That's serious. So not only do boxers live a significantly shorter life than the average athlete or the average male, they live a significantly shorter life than the average person. And a huge percentage of them, those early deaths, are a direct result of being hit in the head. Okay? Yeah. Brain damage. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Now, how about Laila Ali? We didn't get to this yesterday when we did the women. The beef between Laila Ali and Claressa Shields, which is ridiculous. Because like I was telling you yesterday, look at all the men. Ali and Joe Louis, Ali and Tyson, Floyd and Sugar Ray, Canelo, and everybody from other eras. These men get compared all the time, but none of them have any animosity toward each other. So why are these two women? Because they get an argument over who would be the best on social media and exchanging insults and nonsense. What a mess. So let's talk about that right quick. What a mess that is, though, man. Most of the men just laugh it off, probably enjoy the comparisons, but not Shields and Ali. They got to go at it. Ali called Shields that little girl, and she called Ali the old washed up woman or something like that. It's just crazy, man. Just crazy. But let's talk about it. Okay. Let's see. Oh boy, I had all this stuff in here now. I can't find it. What a mess. Yeah, I was supposed to cover this yesterday when we did the women, but we went the thing cut off for me and messed time up. But I'm in the other room today, right there by the main box. I can reach out and touch it. He'll say get close to it, so I'm right up on it. That's as close as I could get. If I was sitting the laptop on top of it, if I could have, I would have. It's under the back of the TV a little bit, so I couldn't. But I'm right there on it. But yeah, let's talk about these two, man. It's crazy. It should have popped right in, but it didn't. I gotta put it in again. Oh boy. I hate this. Still ain't come up. Let's put a couple words in, but bear with me for one moment, please. You've been with me all this time. We'll hang around another couple minutes. Appreciate everybody that's rocking with me today. Tomorrow is going to be on amateur boxing. Okay. Thursday is we'll talk about some of the greatest amateur boxers, of course. Thursday is Boxing in the State series continues with Vermont, which we got knocked off last week and didn't do. And I think the only thing I did last Thursday was the highlights of boxing history before I got kicked off. And then Friday, the profile is The Pride of Wales, Joe Calzaghe, life and career of Joe Calzaghe. Friday, okay? That's a good long one. Mr. 46-0 himself, never lost in his career. Got some big names on his resume too. B-Hop and Roy Jones. Now the knock on Joe Calzaghe was he wouldn't come out of the UK and fight. That was the only knock on him. But what a mess. Here's the tea on Claressa Shields and Layla Ali's beef. Okay, here's the tea on it. Okay, what's happening in the chat? Al Booker. Yeah, Al Booker. Al Booker been in here if you heard about the nickname. I like Executioner better too, AB. Yeah. I never had like Alien. He had Executioner first. I don't even know why he added that alien nonsense. That is trash. You're right, Al Booker, about that. That is trash. Appreciate your comment in the comments for yesterday's show too, Al Booker. That really is significant when you get them comments and stuff. So I appreciate it. 1,000%. Yeah, if you can give a comment, like, subscribe, super chat, Cash App, whatever. Okay? Or just support in the chat. Just being here. That means a lot to me, Just coming in the building. Now, though Claressa Shields may be a beast inside the ring, it seems she's no chump outside of it either, especially when it comes to her apparently long-standing beef with fellow boxing champion Layla Ali. I think it's ridiculous. And things have just gotten more serious. Okay? Now, how did this thing start? Now, the issues between the two allegedly stem from a pair of interviews Ali did on the Breakfast Club in Sway's Universe back in 2012, in which she said that she hadn't observed anything in the boxing world that inspired her enough to unretire and come back to the sport, right? Now, what's bad about that? So upon hearing those words, and Claressa Shields got to respond to everything, man. She needs to slow down. Anything somebody say, if her name, she got to respond. And you're a celebrity like that, you got to ignore something. Not her. She got to respond to everything. Okay? Everything. You can say, oh, Claressa Shields crossed the street. She wasn't in the crosswalk. She going to get on social media and say something bad to you about saying that. She got to respond to everything, man. So after Layla Ali said that about nothing inspired her to come back in 2012, Claressa had to respond, right? So Claressa came back. Upon hearing that, Shields reportedly took offense to it, especially considering she just made history that same year by becoming the first American woman to win a gold medal in boxing, okay? And she hadn't even been fighting professionally for a year yet, right? She also subsequently began questioning Ali's legacy and her impact in the sport, thus resulting in their beef. Now, that was disrespectful for Claressa Shields. You, some young boxer just coming out of the Olympics. Layla Ali is a legend. You should have just let that go. Now, I can see if Layla Ali said that now. Claressa Shields is the only three-time undisputed in the four-belt era champion. Only 4-belt undisputed champion in 3 weight classes in the history of the sport. I could see if Ali said that now, but she said it, she was barely a pro then, right? So it's just ridiculous, man. But anyway, it went on from there. Claressa took offense to that and said some things about Layla, right? She said something about Ali's legacy and her impact in the sport. And that started the beef, okay? And then it went on from there. However, in a recent interview with Ali on All the Smoke, Ali is pushing back on any sort of issues between her and Shields, okay? I don't have any hard feelings against Claressa in general because I got a lot of going on over here. You already know you already know to be worried about any of these young girls like that, Ali said. But at the same time, I see that she gets into it with a lot of people. Exactly. She's been into it with Tank, Ryan Garcia, AB, Keith Thurman, everybody. Claressa Shields gets into it with everybody. She got to respond to everything, you know? Everything. Now, Ali went on to say how Shields isn't going to get far in life if she keeps burning bridges, and that she should stay humble and know that other people can and will surpass her. Well, much like back in 2012, Ali's words didn't land well with Shields yet again, and she took to YouTube to get it off her chest. Claressa said, I've been come to terms since that. She's jealous, Shields expressed. Now I got the biopic. I got the fight coming up. She act like I owe her something. It's weird. And Claressa later added, I'm trying to figure out why when it comes to me, here she comes. Today she really offended me. Well, she said nothing about you in 2012. You the one that jumped out there with the comments and stuff, Claressa. But yeah, it's just ridiculous, man. None of these men go through anything like that. All them, the men get compared way more than them two have been, and none of them have any kind of animosity toward each other. Never have. You know, they probably enjoy the comparisons, right? They just answer the questions and comment on it, you know? So how come it's Claressa Shields. She just gets into it with everybody. Like I said, Tank, Keith Thurman, Ryan Garcia, AB, who else? Hope she don't hear this. But yeah, she need to calm down, man. Claressa need to calm the freak down. You know, you're a celebrity. People are gonna say things about you. You can't respond to everybody. I just think that beef is ridiculous, man. You know, they need to just let it go. You were both great fighters in your own right in different eras. People are going to compare you. Get over it. It's part of it goes with the territory, right? It's part of the territory. People are going to compare you. Simple as that. You know? But yeah, Claressa gets into it with everyone, though, man. He can't let nothing go by. I used to like her, but now she's trying to portray that like Floyd parlayed that bad guy image into millions. It don't play well on Claressa, you know. It don't play well on her. That bad fighter image, no, it don't play well. And then she's out there talking about how she in sparring and men not taking it easy on her and everything. I think the men should just stop sparring her. You know, damn well they taking it easy on her. Because if one of them go in there and knock out and hurt her, he gonna catch it from the public and the media. Go in there and give her some brain damage or something. The man gonna catch it from the media and the press. You're talking about Ryan Garcia. Ryan catch her right with that left hook, he might kill her. God forbid, Tank catch it with one of them left hands. God damn. They're gonna need to stretch it. And Mike just go past the hospital straight on to the morgue. You know? And then she talked about she wanted to fight Keith Sturman. That's just straight up disrespectful, man. Straight up disrespectful. She look, I ain't no boxer. I would have fought her. I would just have to take the pressure because I would go in there and knock her out cold in like 3 seconds. But you know, that's just Clarissa, man. She need to calm down though, because this beef with Later Ali is just ridiculous. But don't forget, tomorrow is amateur boxing. Thursday, boxing in the States. Friday, the life and career of the Pride of Wales, Joe Calzaghe, Mr. 46-0 himself. And we're in fight week for another big one, 2025. Anybody here Tank fighting Jake Paul in November? I read something about that the other day. I don't agree with that because back in the 1800s, fighters they didn't have weight. That's why weight classes were invented to prevent fighters weighing 130, 140, fighting fighters weighing over 200, right? That's why weight classes were invented. So I don't agree with that, man. But I heard in November Tank is fighting Jake Paul, and the Lamont Roach might be off because of it. He might go straight to the Jake Paul fight. But no, I don't agree with it. It's just a money thing, man. You know, I had started to like Jake, man, but this is ridiculous. What are you doing fighting Tank? Jake weigh over 200 pounds. Tank probably fight on actual fight night in the 140s. Maybe. You know? That's why weight classes were invented, to prevent that kind of stuff. So that's ridiculous. That'll be the first Tank fight I haven't watched since he was a prospect. Because I'm definitely not getting that. I done watched every Tank fight since early in his career. He was like, I don't know. He was like a prospect, like in the teens in fights. This will be the first one I ain't watched since then. I'm not watching Tank fight no Jake Paul. You know, it's ridiculous, man. Yeah, Jake needs to stick to promoting. They wanted him to fight real boxers. Look what he does. The first real boxer he fights is a 58-year-old man, Mike Tyson. Now the next real boxer is a lightweight in the 135-pound class. That's not what we meant, Jake. We meant real boxers like Canelo, Bud Crawford, Dimitri Bivol, better be at. That's the kind of real boxers we meant. Not a 58-year-old man and not a lightweight boxer, 135-pounder. That's not what we meant when we went for you to fight real boxers, Jake. This is even worse than fighting YouTubers and MMA guys. Fighting 58-year-old men and fighters that fight at 135. This is even worse. He done went from bad to worse. He should have stuck with the MMA guys. Gee, this is ridiculous. That's a money grab. That's all it is. So I'm a Tank fan, but I'm not a fanboy. And I think it's not right. I call it out, man. And I call Tank out on this one. That's not cool, man. That's why they invented weight classes, to stop this kind of nonsense. What is it, like 60, 70 pounds in between them? Come on, man. It's just a money grab. That's all it is. Just a money grab. And it's ridiculous. They're Jake is again making a mockery out of boxing, man. He's a great promoter, but fighting 58-year-old men and 135 pounders, that's ridiculous. He's making a mockery out of the sport, man. That's all he's doing. Great promoter, but his fighting, no. He should have stuck with YouTubers and MMA guys. That's not real boxing. Fighting 58-year-old men and 135 pounders. Come on, man. It might not even sell that well. I hope it don't. Next year, be fighting the monster or somebody. 122 pounder. It's ridiculous. I wish Canelo would have fought and went on there and knocked him out cold. But Canelo, I think that's when Canelo fought. I forgot who Canelo. But he backed out of it. Yeah, I think he replaced Bud, took the Bud fight instead of Jake Paul. Yeah, a real boxer. Now Canelo and Bud is different because when Bud fights Canelo, Bud is actually going to be fighting in the 168-pound weight class. Tank ain't going to gain no 60 pounds and fight Jake at no 200. So it's totally different. for those who might say, well, Bud going up to fight Canelo, but he gonna be fighting in that weight class when he fights Canelo. Tank ain't gonna be no 200 pounds when he fight Jake Paul. Come on, man. It's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Jake Paul needs to get the hell out of boxing, just be a promoter, because he's making a mockery out of the sport we love, man. We don't love that kind of nonsense. Tank and Jake Paul. I heard it's in November. Somebody please tell me I'm wrong. Their fight is not happening. And I heard that the Lamont Roach fight might be off because of it. It might go straight to Jake Paul. Come on, man. Damn. It's an excuse to get out of fighting Lamont Roach again? Things that make you go, Does Tank want to fight Lamont Roach again? Hate to say that, but hey, want to fight Jake Paul. We want to fight him to fight Lamont Roach, knock Lamont Roach out. Whatever happens between Tank and Jake Paul fight means absolutely nothing, but they both made a lot of money. Hopefully it don't sell well, because it's not good. If that sells well, I told you Jake Paul and Monster Nakes, or Nakes would be a 105-pounder. It's ridiculous. But I'm getting ready to get out. Just Do Boxing is coming up next. Appreciate everybody coming by today. But yeah, that's ridiculous. Tank and Jake Paul, come on, man. That's not boxing. That's just a money grab. It's getting worse than the WWF. You know that's fake. Jake has brought the WWF to boxing. Look at the Mike Tyson debacle. Now he's fighting a 135-pounder. Making a mockery out of boxing. Just whatever you can to make all the money. We want to see good competitive boxing, not this nonsense, man. Come on. Jake? I was starting to like him because of the promoting, but nonsense like that make you dislike the guy, man. And Tank's my favorite fighter, but I don't agree with that. I'm not a fanboy. When I don't agree, I call it out, man. And I don't agree with that, man, fighting Jake Paul. That's not boxing. That's just like the WWF, World Wrestling Federation. That's all it is, man. Same thing. A circus show. That's what that is, a damn circus show. Just like the Mike Tyson fight was. A circus show. That's all it was. It wasn't no fight. I didn't get it neither. I don't have money to spend. This Tank Jake Paul fight, like Jay Harker was saying this morning, you'll be paying for poop. That's what you'll be doing, paying for poop.
Wait, if you were detained in any Maryland juvenile detention.
Appreciate everybody stopping by today. Okay. Al Booger, BBO Boxing TV from the Sports Talk Network, Darrell Hattie, Kensaw Love One, Thomas Hill, Terrell Cameron, Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Mike Grimm, Ray Patterson, Mike Mazik, Miss Cass. Appreciate everybody 1,000%. I don't see a thumbnail for Just Do So, so I'm not sure if he's coming on today. Okay. But tomorrow, for me, we're going to talk about amateur boxing. Okay. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all that boxing history. Everybody have a great day. See y'all around the streets.